Alright, hey, here's Omega here. I'm shooting another video on the Supermoto Light Bee. But, so this, I've had this Light Bee for more than a year now. I've had this Light Bee for more than a year now. I bought it around this time last year. I think I bought it like a couple days ago, last year. So I'm going to tell you my story of how I came to be a Supermoto owner. I'm going to talk about my bike, like the things that I've done to it, what specific Supermoto bike Light Bee model this is, and all that stuff, and then I'll give like I'll give a review on it, on what I think about it. Okay. Okay. So fast forward to last year. The reason I bought the Light Bee was because I wanted to buy an electric dirt bike. Okay. I think I had ridden the Alta. I really rode the Alta Redshift. Okay. If you guys don't know my background, I ride adventure bike. I do adventure bike riding, and then kind of more recently I've been doing like some like hare scramble racing and enduros, and I ride street bikes. I do long distance touring. I've ridden in the dunes, in the desert, in the forest, in the trails, hill climbs and downhill, all sorts. I have a pretty big, pretty wide background in motorcycle riding. Okay, so I want to say, and I like to test ride different bikes and stuff. So that's some little info on Hades Omega here. And I had ridden the Alta Redshift not too long ago before I bought this, and I told myself, man, I already own a Victory Impulse TT. It's a electric motorcycle that Victory sold for 1 year. It's the only electric bike that it was the only production electric bike so far that has a 6-speed gearbox. So that's an interesting thing about that bike. You still have to shift with it. You don't have to shift, but you should shift. So anyway, yeah, but it has a gearbox. Anyway, so yeah, I rode the Redshift and I was like, man, I gotta have me one of these, you know. It was so nice. It was fast, and you know, it was a serious dirt bike, and it was really fast, you know. Hades Omega's current dirt bike was it still is. It's a KLX 140L. Okay, not the most impressive machine in the world. It's a mini bike, you know, and I like riding mini bikes. The reason I like riding mini bikes is because they're small, they're easy to toss around, you know. If you drop them, they're easy to pick up, and it makes going over like more difficult terrain less intimidating, is what I'm going to say. That's why I like riding in mini bikes. So I rode the Redshift, and I thought like, oh, this is a great bike. It's got a lot of power. It's got great suspension. You know, you can ride it hard and everything. But what kind of turned me off of it is like it was really big. It was a pretty big bike, you know, and you know, Hades Omega likes the smaller bikes, so even though they don't really fit them so well. But what wound up happening is, and also another thing that turned me off to the Redshift was the price. It was very expensive. I think they were around like $13,000 when they came out, and you might be able to find one for $8,000 now, but like good luck finding any kind of parts for it. So Alta just kind of went, you know, and that was just a little bit after I rode it the second time, I think. So that's a bummer about Alta. And then I heard about this bike called the Supermoto Light Bee. So I looked around, and lo and behold, it's the cheapest electric dirt bike you could buy. So so Hades Omega didn't have the money to buy an Alta, but I had the money to buy a Light Bee. Okay, so that's the reason I bought the Light Bee. I wanted an electric dirt bike, and I didn't have a lot of money. That's it, you know. What other choices does Hades Omega have out there? Zero FX. You can Zero FX. You can find a used Alta Redshift Now there's the Cape Caulk, but they're all very expensive. They're electric bike, and price equals a lot. You know, a lot of price. You got to pay to own one. So that's the barrier to ownership, is the price. I'm sure like a lot of people would love an electric bike, but you know, it's just you can't afford it. You know. So fast forward to last year around this time, I bought the Surround Light. Okay, and that was the reason I bought it. I bought this guy for $4,000 secondhand from someone in San Francisco. So I guess so. What the guy had told me that I bought this from was he used it for commuting in the city. It was in San Francisco, and he had the dirt wheels on it. This one right here with the 62 unicycle sprocket. So it had like a lower top speed, but it could go up those San Francisco hills no problem. I bet you. I've never ridden the Light Bee in San Francisco, but I bet you it would have no problem getting around San Francisco. Yep. And especially now that it's got a stronger regen brakes, going down hills is like no problem. So without having to burn up your brakes. So yeah, so it's a pretty amazing bike, I have to say. So I'll just tell you now, there's nothing like this bike out in the market currently. Now there's some other bikes that are coming out that they're very similar, but they're either they're e-bikes or they're like a motorcycle. They have motorcycle parts. The Light Bee kind of blends. It's like a hybrid bike. It kind of blends a mountain bike because it has mountain bike components on it, and a motorcycle because you ride it. It has just like foot pegs. There's no pedaling involved. So it's like kind of in between the two. So there's really nothing out on the market like that. Not even an Alta Redshift is a dirt bike. The Cape Caulk, that's a dirt bike. There is one coming out that's very similar to this, but it's more expensive too. So nothing can beat this thing in the price. Okay, I'll tell you that. For $4,000, you can own an electric dirt bike. You know, and yeah. So when I had bought it, my thought was I'm going to get a green sticker for it. And then it's gonna be an electric dirt bike. We're just gonna go to Metcalf all the time and go ride up and down the trails and stuff. And then I bought this one that was plated already, so it has a moped plate on it. So it's basically a dual sport is what it is. Yeah, so it's basically a dual sport moped electric bike hybrid thing. That's what I'm gonna call it. Yeah, so that's the story how I came upon this. The dude he had to commute across the Bay Bridge, and he couldn't do it on this thing. So that's why he had to sell it. And he lived like in an apartment. He actually kept this bike in his apartment too, and he hung it up on the wall. This used to have folding handlebars on it, and I took them off because I didn't. They're not good for riding in the dirt. But they were pretty trick bars, I'll tell you that. You could fold the Barcus back like this, and then you could like put it in a van or something because the handlebars wouldn't stick out and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool about it. But I took them out. I wanted to turn it back into a dirt bike. So, and he had installed some Trials tires on it. I actually do have them there. They're over there on my compressor, but I still have the tires. But the Trials tires were good dual sport tires, so I don't want to say. It's good to go for on-road and off-road, but it isn't really good at the off-road part, as well, in my opinion. The Light Bee doesn't go fast enough to push those Trials tires to its limits, so on the street it's fine. So I've had this thing for a year, and so I'm going to do a review on it. But first I'll go talk about my bike. Let's go take a closer look at it. Okay, so let's take a tour of Hades Omega's Sur-Ron Light Bee. So if any of you watched, I have like probably more than 100 videos on the Sur-Ron Light Bee on my channel. Check out my playlist if you want to know a little more in-depth info on this bike and like the modifications I've done to it. But I'm just gonna kind of talk about how I got it at this point. So when I first got it, it came with the dirt wheel, this one right here, and it came with the 62 unicycle sprocket, and it came with the folding handlebars that I got rid of. It came with the plate. So in California, you can plate this as a moped. The reason you can plate it as a moped is because it's electric and it has foot pegs. And like it can't go fast. Supposedly it can't go faster than 30 miles an hour. I'm sure there's probably some mopeds out there that, I don't know. I've never ridden like a gasoline moped before, so I can't quote you on like. I think they have like limiters and stuff on it too. So, but anyway, in California, you can register this as a moped because it's electric. It doesn't need to have pedals like a gasoline moped. So, you could actually title this not title it, but register it as a moped. So what does that mean? That means you don't have to pay registration every year. It's like lifetime registration, but you do have to pay for it. You do have to have insurance, and you have to wear a DOT approved helmet. So those are the two requirements if you're going to have a moped in California. You got to have insurance, and good luck finding insurance for this thing. It's an odd bike, you know. Geico will insure it, by the way. Geico is the ones that insures this for me. It's $80 a year, if you guys are wondering. I think it's $80. I just renewed it, and it's like $80. So, which is, it's not bad. It's pretty much, that's still cheaper than motorcycle registration, which is like $140 now. So, if I could find a cheaper place like Progressive, but I tried to do Progressive and they wouldn't think it. So, anyway, so yeah, it had the dirt wheels. It had these trials tires on it, the ones that are right here. Okay, and they installed a headlight here and blinkers. So whoever did the wiring on this bike did a good job. It's very, very intricate wiring. I'm telling you, I don't really want to mess around with the wiring on this bike. So we can take a look at the lighting. So it has this kind of like I think it's about 4 or 5 inch light bar on it. Very nice. I've been riding at night I don't ride it at night very often, but I have been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and it works great off-road. It's just aimed downward a little bit so I don't blind other drivers and riders on the road. So it came with these tail lights here, and this used to have brake lights. They don't work anymore. I don't know what happened to them. So I'm squeezing the brakes right now. I'm not doing anything. So I think either the brake lights are stuck on because they're like so bright, or something is wrong with the wiring or something. So I was messing around with the seat one day, and then like there's a bunch of wiring back here, and then like the brake lights stopped working, and then so I haven't gotten them working since then. The brake lights did used to work on this bike, and it has turn signals. There's a turn signal thing right here, but some of them don't work. You can see the blinker doesn't blink properly anymore. I think that flasher relay is like not good anymore. Yeah, see, this one kind of turns on. So the wiring they did was okay, but it didn't last for very long. And Hades Omega has ridden this through a lot of rough terrain and stuff, and that's probably what happened to it. Yeah, and so that was pretty much it. I think they took this off and they zip tied it to the handlebar. That's why this has a different mount. This is actually supposed to mount on something, on a switch. They took that out, and they had some foot pegs, some street foot pegs on here. I didn't like them because obviously I wanted to turn it into a dirt bike. So, but so fast forward now. These are the things that I've this is the configuration the bike is in right now. So let's start at the wheels. So right now it's got the Supermoto wheels. These are the Suron Supermoto wheels that you can buy as a accessory at Lunicycle, and I think they're like $300-$400, something like that. It comes with everything you need to convert it to a Supermoto. Everything, like the chain, the sprockets, the rotors. It's for $300 or $400 to get another pair of wheels with tires and everything. What a bargain that is. Now, the tires, I have to say the tires sucked on it, so I changed them to Michelin Pilot Street tires. And the Michelin Pilot Street tires are so much better than the stock Suron tires, the CST tires. So I never got the stock tires for this bike because it came with this Shinko Trails tire. So, by the way, it's got some reflective tape on it, as you can see. It looks kind of gray. It turns kind of gray in the light. See, but it's like a black tape that it kind of shines gray when you shine a light on it. It's pretty cool. And then I have another set of wheels, the dirt wheels that came with it. So, and then these have like knobbies. So this is for like if I'm going to do some serious off-road riding, that's what I'm going to use. I have run the Supermoto tires and wheels off-road, and they actually do okay. They're not bad. These Michelin Pilot street tires are really good. They're really, really good. Okay, so the front and first things I did is I changed the handlebars back to like kind of mountain bike handlebar. And they were too wide at first, so I had to cut them down. It's more like the stock Sur-Ron bars. The previous owner didn't give me like pretty much any of the stock parts. He like lost them all, so I had to like kind of like piece the bike back together, sort of. They had these handguard mirrors, these Mad Power handguard mirrors. They're great. They're pretty durable. They can take a fall. They won't break if you drop the bike because they're like in the handguards. They're not the best mirrors in the world, but hey, they work and they don't vibrate a whole lot, so you can actually see out of them. This one has the RST Killa forks, the right side up forks. They're painted black. They're supposed to be white, but the previous owner painted everything black on the bike so it would look black. And this is the, I think it's like a gray colored frame. This one has the gray color frame. They have Sur-Rons in different colors. So, also, I want to mention this is a Sur-Ron MX. So, when I got this, it had the X controller on it, though. So, it was a Sur-Ron MX with an X controller on it. Okay, and then later on, I upgraded to a Electric Race Technologies BAC 2000 controller right there. So, it's got a little bit more power than stock. A little more top speed than stock. It's smoother. It makes it ride a little bit smoother, in my opinion. It's a little quieter, and it gives you more regen, and like you can do, and it gives you like a lot of tunability. A lot, too much tunability, in my opinion. A lot more than I want to mess around with. But it has a regen throttle on the left here, kind of like a quad. You know, quads have like a paddle throttle. So you basically hit this and it increases the regen, and it's variable. So you just, if you press it a little bit, it regens a little bit, and you press it more, it'll progressively increase the regen up to, it's set at 50% right now, the motor's power. So if you depress this all the way, you're getting 50% of that power in the other direction. So yeah, and it really does charge the battery when you do it. You can see, so it has an egg rider display right here, and you can change modes. There's like a sport mode, and there's an eco mode, and there's different assist modes, but the assist modes don't really do anything. It kind of has a trip meter that kind of works, but not really. And it has a state of charge indicator here and a voltage, and you can actually see the voltage rise when you hit the regen. So that's pretty cool. And so it does have the stock Sur-Ron speedometer. In my opinion, the Sur-Ron's computer worked really good. I'm sad that when I installed the BAC 2000 controller, it didn't work anymore. It's nice. It looks good. It works in bright daylight. You can see it. You know, it's simple. One button operation. You know, one button does it all. So one button makes the change into max speed and your trip, okay, and then you got an odometer and then the current speed, and then you hold it down to reset your trip. It worked really good. All the functions you would expect to come out of a bicycle computer, you know, it works. But the only problem is if you change your sprocket size or wheel size or whatever, your speedometer will be off. So that was the case with this. When I first got this bike, I'm like, wow, we're going 50 miles already, and then they're really only going like 30 miles. So the speedometer was off by a lot. There's no way to calibrate the stock Sur-Ron computer. That's one of my gripes about that. So for part of the review, it's a good computer, but you cannot calibrate it for different size sprockets or wheels. Okay. So if I put, yeah, so this one has a 62 sprocket, it reads too fast with that sprocket. So you can actually adjust that with the BAC controller. So that's one nice thing, but you have to go in there and play around with it. So that's what I don't like. Also, so this has a Supermoto setup on it. It's got Supermoto sliders front and back. These are homemade Hades Omega spec foot peg sliders, and they do work. I tested it at the racetrack because I low-sided the bike with those crappy Sur-Ron tires one day, and then the bike went sliding. You know, there also were some foot peg sliders, but I changed the foot pegs to these Chinese eBay foot pegs, and I think these are better than the stock ones. And it comes with a little slider shoe, so if you want to go to the racetrack and shred, you know, you'll have the slider shoes on there that they want you to have. Okay, and what else has Hades Omega done to this bike? Okay, so yeah, the handguards. I installed handguards on this because I think someone was mentioning, like, yeah, you know, if you break the lever, the brake levers, where do you get new ones? And like, they don't really know where you can get new. I think you have to buy like the whole thing. So I was like, well, why don't I just install some handguards in there? They've already got like a 2-finger brake. I'm not a big fan of those big levers like this one on the KLR. You know, I like small levers like this. I only use 1 or 2 fingers to brake. Okay. And yeah, so this has some Tusk handguards here. Tusk Deflex in black, and you'll notice there's some Canyon Dancer Tiedowns here. I have just installed these. I haven't really used them all, but I did test them, and they kind of do work. It has a Sur-Ron number plate on it with my racing numbers for District 36. I also made some side numbers for the bike, but they're not installed right now. Only when I go to the racetrack. Oh, also you'll notice that the fender is longer than stock. So you'll see the stock fender is about this long right here. Okay. This is a Mucky Nuts butt fender is what it is. That's been riveted onto the stock fender. And you know what? It's better than stock. I'll tell you that. One of the problems with the Sur-Ron is the fenders. There's no front fender, and the rear fender is too small. It doesn't really do anything. So. The previous owner installed this little flap thingy here to protect the shock from getting dirty. So it actually does a good job of doing that. And then there's another light right here. And the plate actually protects this too. You'll notice that the sides of the plate are rolled. That's so if I drop the bike, the plate doesn't get hit. I noticed the first time I dropped the bike, I think that was when I crashed with the Supermoto on the racetrack. It got bent a little bit. So I bent the plate so you can just barely see the numbers. So and that's the reason why that's bent like that. So if I drop the bike, the plate will not touch the ground. It's got a ram ball mount here, so you can mount accessories. I got my phone mount on here. One thing I have been using this bike for is doing DoorDash deliveries lately. So if you haven't seen that DoorDash DoorDash delivery vlog, check that out. If you want to learn how to make money using a Sur-Ron Lightbee to deliver food, check that video out because you totally can. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. With the extent of the mods, I feel like I've done a lot more than that. Oh yeah, also this has the Sur-Ron upgraded headset. They call it the Sur-Ron Beefy headset is what they call it. You can see here there's a little cup here. And it upgrades it from like a bicycle headset to like a motorcycle headset, where it uses a tapered roller bearing, and it's a lot better than this. That's one of the complaints I had when I had it first, is that the front was unstable, and the reason that is because the headset bearings were loose. Okay, and then I tightened it and it got a little better, and then I upgraded it, and I haven't really had any problems with it since. So that tapered roller bearing is a good upgrade, I'll tell you that. This has a Crud XL fender on it that has been shortened in the back. As you can see, it's cracked here. The reason it's cracked is because it was too long before, and when I crashed, it cracked it. So, you have to shave it quite a bit. So yeah, hiding behind the wheel is a Lunicycle skid plate. So there it is. That's the Lunicycle skid plate, and that's the Hades Omega Spec BSA 2000 lower cover right there, made out of a $1.50 cutting board material from Daiso. And this is also a bracket that Hades Omega made for the BAC 2000 because I thought it kind of flopped around a whole lot. Hades Omega has done a lot of custom work on this bike, is what I want to say. It also has a speed metal seat cover. I have not done a video on this, but one of the things, part of the Sur-Ron review is the seat sucks. Okay, the Sur-Ron seat sucks. You'll get about 30 to 40 miles. I might as well just do the review. We're doing the review right now. I'll tell you now, you'll get 30 to 40 miles, you know, if you ride it normally, you know, not like wide open all the time. I ride this, and when I ride this in the city, I ride in the bike lane. Because it's a moped, I can ride it in the bike lane in California. So, and I don't go faster than 25 miles per hour. Now there's no speed limits for mopeds in California. For the bike, there's no speed limits for the bike lane. What the law says, you have to operate your vehicle safely and at a safe speeds and stuff in the bike lane. So Hades Omega thinks 25 miles per hour in the bike lane is a safe speed, and I believe, you know, I think that's a good idea. You know, that's if they pull me over, that's what I'm telling them. I was going a safe speed. There's no speed limit in the bike lane, okay? Unless it's, you know, the speed limit.